Don't pronounce the name wrong. Don't pronounce the name wrong. Don't pronounce the name wrong. Clustertruck. Yes! Clustertruck is a high-score game about truck jumping. Not jumping in a truck, jumping from truck to truck. Jumping from truck to truck in the worst convoy you've ever seen. I don't know how half these drivers got their licenses. They'll ram into each other, and the slightest deviation in their thwarted route will send them careening end over end, taking you out if you're not careful. Just why you're jumping from truck to truck is as much a mystery, but more easily explainable. Perhaps you're a thrill seeker. Perhaps this is just a high-score physics-based action game. One issue with this high-score physics-based action game is how inconsistent it feels. It's not that the physics are slippery, but perhaps unsure footing is part of the problem. You're never quite sure if you've made it onto a new truck or not unless you land right on its back. Many a time I was sure I missed, but I would clip a frame or somehow bunny hop in the gap between two trucks before being throttled out into the wild blue yonder. Other times I was sure I'd make it, and alas it was not to be. This led me at least to replaying levels over and over and over and over again, seemingly doing the same thing with some adjustments, but always unsure if I'd succeed or fail, and why. A couple times I got lucky enough to land on the one truck that knew how to drive, and just cruised it to the finish line. I initially played the game with a controller, as it seemed the type of game one would use a controller for. I switched to a mouse and keyboard at about stage 6. That's the stage in which the trucks make a left turn. Until this point, you move in a straightforward direction with the ability to subtly adjust your trajectory in the air. To make it on these left-turning trucks, however, you must change the camera to face in the left direction, which with the speed of movement and precariousness of your placement, I found highly difficult on the controller. At least with the mouse, I can just look in that direction. I played the rest of my time with mouse and keyboard, trying my hardest not to make my constant tapping of the spacebar too loud for those who had already gone to sleep. It was easier to control, sure, but I still felt like I was missing out by not using a controller. Perhaps it's the sprint button. Holding the trigger reminded me of holding down sprint while playing Super Meat Boy. Holding shift just doesn't have the same feelings associated with it. I could see a lot of players stealing their resolve and not only figuring out all the quirks of the physics engine, but learning how to earn extra stunt points on purpose instead of by accident. I have to admit, even with the depressing amount of times I died in some stages, I had a smile on my face and was resolved to try again. Clustertruck throws you right back into the game immediately upon failure. Some games have loading screens. If your game is like this, don't have a loading screen. Sadly, I do not have the desire or patience to attain mastery of virtual truck hopping, so shall leave that challenge to others.